All right, let's dive into an idea that seems to turn a core belief about spiritual practice completely on its head. We usually think enlightenment means deep, profound silence, right? But what if the path to ultimate wisdom wasn't quiet at all? What if it was actually hidden inside a song? I mean, seriously, can a simple song lead you to the highest state of spiritual awakening? For a tradition like Buddhism, which is all about quiet contemplation, you'd think the answer is a hard no. But, as we're about to see, the real answer is pretty astonishing. So first up, a common contradiction. Let's just tackle this apparent conflict head on, because, it's right there in the foundational texts of Buddhism. So, on the one hand, you've got this really clear rule. Monks are forbidden from singing and dancing for entertainment. Period. But, on the other hand, the Buddha himself permitted them to chant rhymes with a melody, a practice known as sarapanya. So, what gives? What's the difference? Well, it all comes down to intent. The focus isn't on whether it's music, but on what that music does to your mind. And that brings us to the real logic behind all this. How can sound, which we usually think of as a major distraction, actually become a tool for deep focus? The answer is in this fascinating chain of cause and effect. And what's so cool is that modern science totally backs this ancient idea up. I mean, we have countless studies now showing that music has this huge, measurable impact on our brains. It can release those happiness chemicals, endorphins. It slashes stress and can even help with things like memory and brain function. It literally changes your mental state, and often for the better. And that is exactly the principle the Buddha understood thousands of years ago. The guidance wasn't to just avoid all sound. Nope. It was to be incredibly mindful of its effects. The crucial distinction is whether a sound cultivates a positive or wholesome state of mind or a negative one. And this is where we get to a sequence that might really surprise you. See, in Buddhist practice, happiness isn't a distraction at all. In fact, it's considered a direct cause for deep concentration, for what's called samadhi. Think about it. A happy, calm mind is a focused mind, and it's only from that state of deep focus that true wisdom, or panna, can arise. It's like a domino effect, and it all kicks off with a wholesome sound. Okay, so that's the theory, but where's the proof? Well, this is where things get really wild. We're about to look at some of the most incredible stories from the Buddhist commentaries, actual accounts of people achieving full enlightenment, not by sitting in silence, but by simply hearing a song. Our first story takes place on the island of Sinhala, what we now call Sri Lanka, and it involves a group of 60 monks who are deep in their meditative practice. So, as these monks were out walking, they overheard a young girl singing. Her song wasn't about trivial matters, it was about the fundamental truths of existence, of being born, growing old, and the inevitability of death. The result was extraordinary. The truth in her melody resonated so deeply with their own meditative practice that all 60 of them, and I mean every single monk, achieved arahantship, the state of full and complete enlightenment, right there on the spot. And get this wasn't just a one-off event. Let's look at another example involving a monk named Tissa. He was walking near a pond when he heard a girl singing as she gathered lotus flowers. Her song was a simple, beautiful metaphor. Just as these vibrant flowers eventually wither, our own bodies decay with time. The simple truth in that melody struck him so deeply that he too attained the highest state of awakening. This final story is perhaps the most remarkable because it shows this principle applies to everyone, not just monks. It's about an ordinary father and his 7 sons. While walking back from the forest, they passed a woman working who was singing a song about the transient nature of the body, how it's a home for worms and destined to decay. A grim topic, sure, but one filled with profound truth. And in that moment of hearing her song, all 8 of them, the father and all 7 of his sons, attained a very high form of awakening known as a Buddha, a being who achieves enlightenment on their own without needing to hear the teachings from a Buddha. The ancient commentaries themselves highlight just how amazing this is. As the Mangalatha Nani text explains, becoming enlightened after hearing a teaching directly from the Buddha makes sense. But for 60 monks to be awakened by the song of a young girl, that is truly astonishing. It shows the power is in the truth, no matter the vessel. So, what's the big takeaway from all of this? How do we put all these pieces together? It comes down to understanding music not as a distraction, but as a powerful tool. The underlying concept here is called skillful means, or upaya. It's the idea that almost any activity can be used as a path to wisdom, as long as it's applied skillfully. The activity itself isn't inherently good or bad. What matters is whether it helps you cultivate peace, focus, and insight. So the crucial point is this: music filled with Dhamma, or truth, isn't the goal itself. It's a vehicle, a powerful method for calming the mind and delivering profound wisdom in a way that resonates deeply. There's a powerful metaphor for this. Think of music as the boat that carries you across the turbulent river of distraction. It gets you to the other shore, the shore of enlightenment. But once you've arrived, you don't need to carry the boat with you anymore. Which leaves us with one final thought-provoking question. If sound is this powerful, if it can be a skillful tool for either distraction or clarity, it's worth asking ourselves, what kind of sounds are we filling our lives with? And where, exactly, are they taking us?